I just started recording off the bat because who knows what this cold open's going to sound like, and I want Kevin to have as hard a time as possible.
Speaking of a cold open, you messaged to me that you're pooping in the shower. I need to know what that's about.
Okay, so first off, I wasn't pooping in the shower. I was pooping before my shower. I'm not a fan of a waffle stomp, so it's only beforehand. You got to poop beforehand, so that way you can have the cleanest butthole possible.
Right. You don't want to tarnish your entire cleansing by taking a dump directly after getting out of the shower.
Exactly. And then like you gotta wipe and you're still like a little damp. It's just not a good time. But
it's all ruined.
It's all just paper bits. No, but I did have to shower before the episode today because I was sweating my dick off at work and was just super gross. So a shower it was.
For sure. Ladies and gentlemen, take a shower.
Yeah, take a shower. All right. I'm getting some weird feedback on your audio.
What type of feedback?
It just like randomly. Well, it's probably not random, but I don't know what's triggering it. But it sounds like a do-dee-do-do.
Well, Yui's currently in the kitchen slamming everything she can slam.
I don't think it has anything to do with the slamming.
What does she? Maybe my microphone is picking up. I'm gonna switch to my headset microphone. I think maybe my Yeti microphone is too sensitive for. Oh, my gain's turned like all the F up.
It's got maybe it's got a little wiggle or something. I don't know.
Wiggle. For sure. Make it as difficult for him as possible.
Yeah, that's the goal. That silly boy. He's like, I can't wait to produce this. Little did he know.
Right. He's never going to want to produce us again.
Yeah. Stupid bastard. Yeah, so let's just go with what you had in line, I guess. But we can both be Kevin.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Life Midwest podcast.
The only podcast on the interwebs where the host changes weekly.
And there is no script.
Well, I'm sure that's not true.
That's all I have this week, and you'll deal with it.
I'm your host, Kevin.
With me today are my co-host, Wes and Lenny.
Honestly, I thought you were going to wrap it at I'm your host, Kevin. But that's fine. He could probably cut it there. All right. So today, I guess we're doing what we call the water cooler, or around the water cooler, or however the hell we said it the last time. Part deuces. And it's basically where we just talk about updates for our lives and how shit's going. And so that way we don't have to dedicate like a million My Friend episodes just amongst ourselves, and we can keep it pure and clean and stick to the idea of it. Wes, we kind of hinted at what you've had going on. Tell us about it, my man.
So, I moved to Thailand recently, about a month ago at this point.
Oh, shock, surprise. So I'm assuming this has to do with your significant other.
Yes. So the visa process for getting an alien, as the government calls them, over to the U.S. I filed a petition for an alien fiance, and it's just been taking a dick year, or close to it. And I have no real faith that they would, in any reasonable time, get her over there for us to get married, live a normal life, or whatever. And ever since COVID, it's been difficult for the two of us to actually see one another. I was able to get out, or able to get to Thailand in December of last year, but that was short and expensive. And I figured I would just move there. We would get married, and then we would apply for what's called a alien spouse visa, which has a much shorter processing time because apparently it's more important to get your wife over than your fiance.
That sounds like it makes bureaucratic sense, at least. What so what's the process for well, let me ask you this question first. What is sort of your timeline? Like, how long do you expect to be living in Thailand?
Until I am, or we are rather now, financially stable enough to come to the US and then live there for some amount of time. Ideally, we live in both countries, maybe half in Thailand, half in the US. We're just kind of getting set up here, and then once I have stable work, and she can pretty much teach from anywhere. She has a very valuable skill set in teaching Japanese at the college level. So she could teach that online in the US, in Thailand, basically wherever she has internet. So basically it's just me getting set up financially at this point. And then I do not want to come back to the US poor. There's nothing worse than being poor in the US. I've been there. I don't want to do it again. So maybe a year, maybe longer, hopefully not too long. I promised Kevin, which we're both Kevin today. So I promised the third Kevin, original Kevin, that I would be back for his wedding in September of 23. So that's the hard cutoff.
Well, I mean, to be fair, being back for the wedding specifically means being back for the wedding. It doesn't mean, if it's not feasible for you to be more permanently bouncing between two countries, that you have to do that by that time. But I understand what you're saying. So so are you going to be applying for like dual citizenship to be like a Thai citizen?
At some point, I think I have to be married to her for like 3 years to do that. Don't quote me. I've only kind of browsed the website. First step is for me to get what is called I guess it would be a spouse visa here in Thailand. And we're actually going, after we record today, to figure that all out. Now that we're finally married, we can get me that visa, and then I'm able to stay here longer than the 60 days that my travel visa or non-immigrant Thai visa grants me currently.
So you said you've got about 30 days left then. Is that like a realistic time frame to get your spousal visa, at least through the Thai bureaucracy?
So the Thai bureaucracy works like coffee through intestines. They're really quick here. Like I applied for I decided to move here at the end of April, and I was here with my visa in hand by May 12th. Or I left the US May 12th. It was May 14th when I was finally here. But I had my visa. It's called a Thai pass. You can't come to Thailand as a foreigner without it. It just confirms you're vaccinated and have travel insurance and whatnot. So like they're pretty quick. And then we encountered some snags at the local level, which I suspect we'll encounter again when we were trying to get married and whatnot. But I don't think it should be too bad. Worst case scenario, I could just like exit through the northern border of Thailand and come back and get another Thai pass for 30 days until it's figured out. And I think they encourage that. Like it actually says that on their website and the consulate's website in the US.
Okay. So without sounding like stereotypical, when you say snags at like the local level, do you have to like you have to like bribe people, or are they just like is like the local government's kind of like the HOA where like a small amount of people have like power and they get big heads about it, sort of thing?
It's kind of flipped, and I know this is a really bad generalization of two governments, but at the local level, let's say Toledo, because I'm generally from that area, Toledo,
Yeah.
Ohio. I went to the city office to get an affidavit of single status, basically just showing that I can get married abroad. And I walked there with $10, went into the office, handed it to someone, and they printed me a paper, and I had it within a few minutes. Super simple. That's how their federal government works in Thailand, I feel. Their local government works like the federal government in the US. Everything's slow, nothing gets done. We had to go back to the office like 6 or 7 times just to resubmit documents because they're really nitpicky about what needs to happen, what it needs to say, how the translation works. Like, there's not a proper translation between English to Thai for my name, for example. And they're just like, no, this is wrong and this is wrong. It actually got to the point where finally one of the people helping us just took our document into the back and edited it theirself. Like, it was like, okay, we've sent you away too many times. It's been a week now.
So they're just like, your name is incorrect.
It was a little bit more than that, but yeah.
I can only imagine like you walk in there and be like, this isn't you. What do you mean this is me? Oh, your name's wrong. It says right here, this is my name. Look at my passport. No, that's wrong.
So that was a process within itself, and we just beat the deadline to meet our appointment to get married, because it's just like going to the courthouse in the US. You go into an office building ran by the government and they sign some paperwork. That was scheduled for the day after we finally got everything sorted out. So the lady who took it into the back were like pleading, like, please, let's get this done so we can get married tomorrow and not have to reschedule for a month out because, visa and whatnot. And then we go to the municipal building to get married. And the guy who's in charge of that just didn't show up that day. Like, we had an appointment. No one told us our appointment was canceled. We went there and they're like, oh, no, he's just not here. So, I'm like fuming. And Yui's doing everything she can to calm me down. But yeah.
It sounds so I know maybe some of our listeners will have a shared experience with me, but it sounds very much like when I was in the Army, we had something that was called the S1 office, and that was like basically like HR for your battalion level unit. If you think like if you think about like working in a store, for example, it would be like the store would be like your company, right? And then the battalion above that is like the regional people. So, and the S1 is very infamous amongst the Army specifically. I don't know what they call it in other branches, but anybody that is a U.S. veteran can surely relate, or even anybody abroad. But they very regularly lose paperwork, kick paperwork back for like the dumbest reasons, like, oh, you forgot to put a period here, so you have to redo this whole packet that you just spent 3 weeks doing, shit like that. So I feel your pain. I completely understand what you're talking about.
Is that where they make you fill out the ID-10T forms?
Maybe, I don't know. I guess, yeah, we'll go with that. The ID-NT.
The ID-10T.
Oh, sorry, the ID-10T. I'm assuming that's where they fill it out. I've never had to do one of those. Thank God. It sounds like a pain in the ass.
So it actually spells idiot. It's a joke to like with bureaucracy. It's like, did you fill out your ID-10T form?
I was picking up what you were putting down.
Oh,
I just
okay.
didn't want to make it too obvious, but I think you just ruined your own joke.
Oh, well, Kevin, cut this out, please.
If he does not leave it in, I'm gonna have some words for that boy. Okay, so what does an average day for you in Thailand look like right now?
Oh, days are weird these days. I don't think I've discovered an average day yet. So it's wake up, scramble to get ready at the last moment because that's how my life be anywhere. And UE teaches most days, so it's kind of a mix of getting our living situation, which is a condo that luckily her family allowed us to stay at. Getting that set up. We don't really have reliable internet there just yet, but I am testing the internet there now, so we'll see how this recording turns out. um, Getting the condo set up, her doing her work. While she works, I look for jobs. We've been going back and forth between her brother is a physician and so is her sister-in-law, so we stay above their clinic when she needs to work because there's really good internet there. And it's a mix of going back and forth, going out with her family, meeting a million different people that she wants me to meet, friends, family. When I first got here, we landed in Bangkok, or I landed in Bangkok, and we stayed there for about a week. She's giving me a really dirty look right now. I'm not sure what I said wrong, but landed in Bangkok, and she just has like 1,000 friends. So every day it was meeting somebody new, going out to eat. I think I've already gained like 10 kilos since I've been here, which is like 20 or 30 pounds or something crazy.
That sounds like a dream to me, just eating all the time. What's been your favorite like dish so far then that you've maybe you've had it before or have just recently discovered?
So I think my favorite dish so far has been, and I actually had it when I was here in December. There's this, it's an organization, I guess. It's called the Royal Project. The previous king of Thailand was like really big into creating programs for the citizens, like agriculture, making Thailand the food basket of Southeast Asia. And they have their own thing called the Royal Project, where there's like a restaurant and a store with like government sponsored food, local dishes and whatnot. And there's just this really delicious rice and fish type meal. I don't know what it's called. Yui, what was the Royal Project food called that we ate? No, I know the name of the restaurant, but what's the name of the dish?
Batao cow something. I forgot.
She said batao cow something. She forgot. And some nonjin namya. I have no idea what she's saying, but yeah. So very delicious. If anyone ends up in Thailand, definitely check out the Royal Project. They definitely have one in Chiang Mai. I'm assuming they probably have one in most provinces because it's a royal thing. She's not confirming for me, but if you Google, I'm sure you can find out. Oh, she also doesn't know. You're terrible at being Thai.
So how's the job hunting then? Is that I assume that you probably speak some Thai. Is that like a barrier for you as far as like job seeking goes, or is there like a lot of stuff where like they need like English speakers for whatever reason?
So I haven't resorted to looking for jobs in Thailand just yet. The earning potential in the US is much, much higher. And with work from home, digital nomad type jobs, I'm looking for jobs where I can make a US salary and live like a king in Thailand.
Okay.
So I've been applying for like remote IT desk work or customer service, customer support, troubleshooting. I recently applied to be a team coach. I have a communications degree, so it's somewhere along the line of helping people and understanding people from diverse backgrounds. That one so far is my most interesting one, just because it would be it seems fun, it seems like it could be very tragic, but it also seems like it could be a good opportunity to learn. On the note about teaching in Thailand English, however, that is an option. I just don't want to make like $5 an hour.
That's fair. Like, what's been surprising about it to you? I mean, I know that you were there, like you said, in December, but what has there been anything about the process, about like living there a little bit more long term that you found surprising, or um, just something cool you want to share, just anything like that?
So I guess I can go over a little bit of the culture shock. Even though I was here in December and was the first time I experienced the culture shock, there's still some things that still like shake me to my core. Like the driving here is very ambiguous. I'm not sure if they have traffic laws or if everyone just does what they want. um, it's really scary. You're sharing the road with like people on bikes, motorbikes, and they kind of just go wherever they want. And they'll like hover around your car, and you have to look at all your mirrors and figure out, am I running someone over when I make this turn? And people just drive in the middle of the road, and they go all different speeds. They have like these things up above, kind of like our signs that say like turn here for this location on the expressway, just like imagine a big green sign in the US, except for they also have like these overhead lights that say slow down traffic camera, but people zoom past them going like 30 over the speed limit. So I'm like, do people acknowledge anything here? It's just kind of a bit scary. I try not to look out the window, especially when Yui's driving. Just giving me a look again.
I was going to say, I bet you should get a look from that. I've heard something similar from friends of mine that have been stationed in like South Korea. So luckily, I've never had to experience it myself. Do you think you'll ever be brave enough to try driving those streets?
So I've driven a couple times, low key.
Okay.
I don't have an international license, so I'm trying to not get myself arrested or deported. But, like I have to experience it, you want me to drive, you want me to be successful once I'm an alien immigrant, whatever they call it here. I gotta see what it's all about. Oh, and they drive on the other side of the road, so first couple times I like almost just went onto the wrong side of the road, which was great.
Oh, British system, huh?
Yeah, and I think it's more crazy than that though. Like imagine your fast lane is the same lane you get off the expressway.
Well, I can't imagine that, because it seems that's the way some people drive in Seattle. So been there, done that. Anyways, I never would have pegged you to have been like one of the more cultured people that I knew, towards the end of high school, Wes. So congratulations.
I wasn't then. It took me until my mid-20s to gain any amount of culture.
I do have a question for you. When you and Yui are, I guess when you and Yui are like speak to each other, do you speak Thai? Do you speak Japanese? Do you speak English? Is it like Spanglish but with Thai instead?
Yeah, so we actually speak a combination of all three languages. I know so little Thai that basically I say like 5 words in Thai. I know about 10 words in Japanese, so 10 words in Japanese, and then the rest is in English. And then just each of us constantly repeating ourselves, like, what did you say? I don't know what you're saying right now. We call our language Flappy Go.
Flappy Go?
So in Japanese, languages are go. So like English is Eigo, Japanese is Nihongo, Thai is Taigo. And Flappy is just this weird pet name she gave to me because I told her a ridiculous story about the movie Dumbo. I think Kevin, when he was actually in Japan when this happened, but we tried to convince Yui that the movie Dumbo is actually called Flappy in the US. We were gaslighting her for a little bit until finally this guy from Michigan who lived in the same dorm as me and Yui, he came, he's like, that's fucking Dumbo you're talking about, and just ruined everything. So now when I'm being what most people in the US would affectionately call a turd or just like a weirdo, a goofball, whatever, she calls me Flappy. So our language is Flappy Go, which is a mix of Japanese, Thai, and English.
We the word for that in my house is dingus.
Dingus, yeah. I like dingus quite a bit.
So on the subject of languages, Schwess, aka KevDog 2.0, You had talked to us about wanting to do was it Thai word or Thai phrase of the week, as it were, or whatever that. What do you want to call it?
Learn West with Thai, or learn West with Thai. Perfect. 12 p.m. and I'm already drunk. Jeez.
That's
Learn Thai with Wes Weekly.
No, that's so perfect. Learn West with Thai. So perfect. Okay, so what's the Thai that you want to teach us this week?
So I'm not sure if this translates all over Thailand. It's more slang, but it's my favorite thing I've learned thus far. And the minute I say this, Yui's going to give me another goofy look. So can you think of like any euphemisms or like pet names for the male genitalia, like a 5-year-old might say? Like, oh, my pee-pee or my wiener.
Yeah.
So in Thai, the word for elephant is chang, and small, like a nice way of saying small, is noi. And if you put them together, you get small elephant, which is what they might call their euphemism for their wiener or their pee-pee. So they're chang noi. Because if you look at a package from the front, it kind of looks like an elephant face.
Okay. But it's not, as you said that it's slang. Is it considered like malicious, like you're making fun of somebody, or is it just like saying, is it literally like the equivalent of like saying wiener or pee-pee?
Yeah, I think it's the equivalent of saying wiener or pee-pee. It's a bit more cute than that. Like they have a brand of noodles called Chang Noi, and like you'll see restaurants and stuff because it just means little elephant. It's cute, but also it comes from a Japanese anime called Shin-chan, Crayon Shin-chan.
Xinjiang.
Shin-chan. She keeps correcting me, but we have it in the U.S. and it's called Shin-chan, right?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's like really poorly drawn, but like in an artistic style. It was on Adult Swim for those of us in the US, and it was the little kid who shows his ass everywhere and calls his mom by her actual name. He's just like a complete brat, but also like really smart.
let me see what we're talking about.
Make sure you Google Chin Chan's wiener. That way you can see what a Chang Noi looks like.
I know. I have seen this character around, but I did not know what it was called. I thought this was Chinese. I'm not gonna lie.
For sure, with a name like Chin Chan.
Well, no, before even knowing the name, just the way it looked. It looked to me, it looked Chinese.
Not to sound uncultured, but it's not too far off.
I think it's Shin Chan.
Oh, Shin Chan.
Xinjiang.
Xinjiang, apparently.
Oh, okay. I'm going to put I'm gonna put this somewhere where OGK can see it, so he can put it in the show notes. This kid literally drew an elephant on his wiener.
Yeah. So it's not malicious or anything here. It's just like some people don't even know it. Like she asked her niece if she knew what Chang Noi was, and she's like, "You mean the noodles?" And she's like, "Sure."
Okay. Anyways, what I'm about to post up in our little chat, will explain perfectly. So I truly hope that OGK puts this in the show notes. There's nothing else for it, because it's completely perfect.
And on the note of both Thai and wieners, they also call their unit a Pikachu, like the Pokemon. I'm not sure the story behind that. She told me at one point, but I don't remember. And she won't tell me now. She's thoroughly upset with me about giving all her dirty Thai secrets to the US.
You make her sound like a Russian sleeper agent.
Oh, well, I don't know. She's not.
It's pronounced Chang Noi.
Chang Noi. Yeah, small elephant, little elephant.
So no G at the end?
There is a G, but it's kind of like soft, Chang, okay. And the A is drawn out. And it also goes like downward in inflection. Thai is really difficult. I can't get the whole intonation and inflection down correctly.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to take your headphones out so Yui can hear what I'm about to say. I don't know if that'll screw with your microphone or whatever, but I want to hear like her critique of how I pronounce it.
All right, give me a second. I'm gonna actually just turn up the headphones real quick and
okay.
put them next to her.
That's probably better.
All right, Yui, you've been summoned to critique his tie. I think she could probably hear you now.
Okay, so here we go. This is my attempt at Thai and having a Thai person maliciously judge me. Chang Noi.
Chang Noi.
She said yes. Let me take the mic to her.
Check the pronunciations, right?
Yeah, he's asking the pronunciation.
Yeah, it's correct.
Can you say it?
Chang Noi.
All right. Yes, I win. Wes, my goal is to basically pronounce every Thai word you give us better than you.
I don't think it'll be hard. I am terrible at it. I'll say a string of words I think is Thai, and she'll just look at me, head turned sideways like a golden retriever, like, the hell are you saying to me, kid? Oh, she actually just confirmed that my pronunciation of Chang Noi is correct. But every other word, she has no idea what I'm saying. We know where my priorities are.
Yeah, it's not a surprise to really any of us that know you well at all. I know you guys have stuff to do, so we'll cut it here. Wes, do you have any shout outs for us this week? Oh, you have the kazoo?
I brought it all the way to Thailand, and 2 backup ones in case this one breaks. So he's never going away. Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Thailand, especially their federal government. Thanks for easy bureaucracy. Also like to give a shout out to my now wife, Yui. She's beautiful. Thank you for loving me, Yui. I don't know why, but I'm glad you do. And like to give a shout out to the millions of her friends and family I have already met. At least 1 million. She's very popular, it seems.
With that said, for me this week, first and foremost, always shouting out my beautiful wife, Brittany. She's in the living room watching Friends on HBO because she never watched it growing up and has decided to binge it now. I'd like to give another shout out to Thailand and Yui as well, again for loving Wes, making him a probably better person in the long run eventually. And for the Thai national government being not shit like ours, at least when it comes to bureaucracy. Other than that, also going to give a shout out to OGK, aka the real Kevin Palmer. Would you please stand up while you're editing this, producing? Unfortunately, Kevin couldn't be here with us this week for recording. It's really hard to record when only one of the hosts actually lives in the Midwest, and the other is Pacific Standard Time, and the other is on the other side of the goddamn planet. So maybe eventually we'll all get back together again.
We'll have to do a live event.
Yeah, we'll do it live. Other than that, I think this is going to be it for us this week. Join us next week where we're going to start getting into some heavy stuff. So it might get depressing real quick, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. But for now, we'll be signing off with some happy thoughts. And we'll see you. Oh, before we forget, make sure you call your mom. And have a good one.
Protect your Chang noise and...
All right, we'll see you later, guys.
Deuces.